What's up guys, my name is Liam and today we're going to be taking a look at two brand new gaming mice from DharmoShark, the M5 and the M3 Micro. Both of these shapes are very small, and in fact the M3 Micro is different from anything else that I've had any experience with in the past. So could one of these potentially be the perfect gaming mouse for you? Let's check it out. Before we get started, I did want to let you know that both of these were sent out to me by MetKeys. However, everything you're going to be hearing in this video is going to be my own words and my own opinions. Included inside the box for both of them, over on the left side is what comes with the M5. This one actually does come with the 4K receiver. So this is basically just the same receiver that they used with their previous 4K mice. I do believe you'd have to purchase it separately for most of them, even though it does come included with this one. They also do include a USB-C cable, these rubberized style grips, and it does come with an extra set of skates. Over on the side of the M3 Micro, this did not come included with the 4K receiver. It is compatible with it, but you will need to purchase it separately. But this one does come with the 1K receiver. It does include a dongle adapter with the USB-C cable, and then same thing, an extra set of skates and these rubberized style grips. Both of these mice are capable of supporting up to an 8,000 hertz polling rate. You'll need to have this previous 4K receiver in order to do so, and even though you do get this out of the box, it will only give you the capability for 4K. I'll go through a little tutorial later on, but you actually do need to update the firmware on this. And like I said, if you do have a previous 4K dongle just sitting around from any of your previous DharmoShark mice, you can use it with the M3 Micro, but you will also have to do the same firmware update to give you the 8K compatibility. So starting on the bottom of both of these mice, the build on these is actually very similar to one another. On the M3 Micro, you do have a slot down here to store the 1K receiver. It also does come with a cover, excuse me, I did just remove that. But as you can see, the functions down here are similar. You put the switch down here in the middle to turn it off. Switch it over here to the right side to enable the receiver, and then on the left side it does give you the option for Bluetooth compatibility, DPI button over here on the left, and then you do have a trigger function over here on the right side. These both do come with these larger set style skates. I'm actually a big fan of these skate designs. I'm glad they went with this, and the skates that do come on these, they actually do feel great. They are these see-through 100% virgin PTFE skates. Both of these mice, they do come with a coating, and for my drier hands, it actually does feel a bit more grippy. And even if my hands were to get a little bit more clammy, I do feel like it does provide some additional grip. I did mess around with getting my hands really wet, so if you get very sweaty hands, I don't really feel like this coating is the best. If you get really sweaty hands, it does become a bit more slippery, but all around it's all right. It does feel better than just having a plastic coating, so I'm at least glad that they did put something on here. But as far as the shell integrity on both of these mice go, I have been really rough with both of them. So far everything has felt really great. I haven't been getting any type of creaking or flexing, anything like that, while using both of these. The implementation on both of my mice, they actually do feel pretty good. On the M5, you get very little pre-travel, and the post-travel on here is pretty solid. Typical things, when you come up in the front, you do get a little bit more play. And on my M5, there is a little bit of side-to-side play there. And if you were to put your finger in this certain spot, you kind of hear it going back and forth a little bit, but they feel pretty solid for the most part. Nothing that I noticed as I was using this in game or anything like that. Like I said, it's just really, if you were to go like this on the one spot, you do kind of notice it. I do feel like, however, on the M3 Micro, feels very similar, but you do get just a little bit more play than the M5. Nothing bad, but pretty good click feeling all around. A little bit more play up here in the front, and you do kind of have that issue with the tolerances on this one as well. Again, as I was tracking with this in game, nothing that you really notice, but if you were to put your finger in a certain position right here, you can kind of hear it moving around back and forth. So aside from that, everything feels pretty solid. On the M3 Micro, you get kind of a weird hollow sound if you click further back, but it doesn't make it too much heavier, so pretty good implementation there. And on the M5, pretty solid as well, even clicking from the very back there, they still feel pretty light. The scrolls still feel pretty similar to their previous mice. It's almost kind of like a little bit of a stiffer feeling as you first start moving it, but then you do notice these smaller feeling steps to them, and the center scroll click, it actually does feel a bit more on the stiffer end. The side buttons on these, they feel all right. You barely get any play there from clicking it on the back up to the front. And the pre and post travel on them, you don't get hardly any pre-travel, but there is quite a bit of post travel. You can actually push these into the shell quite a bit there, excuse me, but not too bad feeling on here. Same thing over here on the M3S Micro. I do feel like you get a little bit more play. You get a little bit more movement there from the back before you start clicking them. But same thing goes for the post travel. You can kind of push them in a little bit there. You can't push them too far into the shell, but just a little bit of rocking there back and forth, just mostly noticing it on the rear side buttons. So could button up and improve these side buttons a little bit, but overall not too bad. These are using a 300 milliamp hour battery, and I was using an 8K polling rate the entire time that I was using them, and I was getting about 2 days of use out of them. And as far as the balance goes, M5 feels spot on here, front to back and left to right. Same thing with the M3 Micro. So on my scale here with the M5, looks like we got it coming in at approximately 38.9 grams. Coming over to the M3 Micro, looks like it's sitting at about 44.5 or 4 grams. In order to update this 4K receiver to have capability for the 8K polling rate, you do need to go to their website. I will go and put links down here, down in the description below. Just a quick note, if you do download the firmware for the M5, it will not update it properly for the M3 Micro, so you will need to go and select the exact model of mouse that you're using in order for this 8K update to work properly. But the software is still similar to what they were using on their previous mice. If you do download this, you will need to come up in the top right hand corner and select your model of mouse if it does not automatically populate here for you. But then next up, you can come over to this tab where it allows you to adjust your DPI and the polling rate. I always make sure to click on this enter, this OK button right here to make sure everything does save. Then over on this next page, it does give you some additional options where it does allow you to adjust the debounce setting down to 0 milliseconds. And these are the current settings that I have been using on these mice that have been working out best for me. The performance on both of these mice have been feeling great. And it does look like with this 8K firmware upgrade that you are seeing improved performance. I went ahead and threw up numbers on here from the previous M2 that I tested out when that did have a maximum capability of a 4K polling rate. The M5 did kind of remind me a lot of the G-Wolves HSK Plus, pretty similar in overall shape and size, but this does have a bit more of flatter sides to it, and they actually do feel pretty tall. So for a fingertip style mouse, I really do feel like this one does feel really solid. It has a nice big hump here in the back to give you some additional support. But all around, I have been really enjoying the shape, weight, and feeling of this. For the M3 Micro, this one actually took me a little bit to get used to. I am actually really enjoying it now. At first, I thought this was like way too small for me, just the overall dimensions of it. This is without question the smallest mouse that I have. And by saying that, I'm not comparing it to anything like the HSK Pro or anything like that. That is purely a fingertip grip mouse. This one, you actually can do some type of a claw with it. The one thing I kind of felt about this when I first got out of the box, I felt like the top was just a little bit too flat for me. It does have a little bit of a rear hump there, but it is very low to the ground. And everything else about this, to be honest with you, does feel pretty good once I've gotten used to it. Pretty lightweight and easy to move around. My grip style on this that I've been kind of using, I've been using mostly an aggressive claw and kind of just pinching it right there with the bottom of my palm. It honestly has been feeling really good to me, but just know that if you do get this, you're probably going to have some adjustment in doing so. So with that being said, I'll just go ahead and throw up a quick comparison with this to get it out of the way, and then we'll go into the M5, since like I said, there's nothing that really compares to this that I've used before. And just to show you what I'm talking about, this is the Finalmouse ULX Small, and previously this was one of the smallest mice that I had out there. That is this almost full size symmetrical style of a mouse. So as you can see, it's just actually a night and day difference. If you've ever used the Finalmouse Small ULX and feel like it was too small for you, then very clearly you can see what you're going to be getting here with this. So just the overall scale, not a whole lot to talk about there. As you can see, looking at both of these, just every single dimension, every way that you look at these. M3 Micro is just on a whole nother league of its own in terms of being a small sized mouse. As you can see on the HSK Pro, it does kind of have these flared out front up here, down on the bottom, where the M5 feels just a little bit more tiny, but you do have those flatter sides there. Looking at both of these from the rear, I do notice you get a little bit more of a hump over here on the M5. Both of these, however, are not really that far apart from each other when it comes to the overall scale, but as you can see, they do have their differences in shape. Lastly, I'll throw it up really quickly to the HTR here. Even though the shapes on these are actually pretty different from one another, I figured I'd just show you the overall scale between both of them. On the HTR, it does have higher front end just a little bit, and it does feel just a little bit more wide in the front, but it does have this pretty different and unique rear end where it does feel more thin there in the back. But both these have a pretty high aggressive hump there on the rear, back, and the middle. And even though both these shapes are pretty different, not that far in the overall scale, and both of these are really solid fingertip grip options. Alright guys, so that about wraps things up on the Dharma Shark M5 and the M3 Micro. I have been really enjoying gaming with both of these. I do feel like there is just a little bit room of improvement there for the coding and for the tolerances on the side buttons and the clicks. But all around, I do feel like these are really solid options. The fact that they are very tiny, coming at a really low weight, and the performance of them is really good. I truly have been really enjoying gaming with them. So if you have any questions or feel like I left anything out, please let me know down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed watching this video and are interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, please drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.